Hello guys, Baz here, with a new series on teaching y'all how to operate command blocks and cool stuff that can be done with them. Since this is the first episode of the series, I'm going to be showing and summarizing the basics and fundamentals of each command block, like the impulse, the chain, and the repeat, which are the only types, and how they work and are used. I will also be showing and explaining each setting of the command block that has within all of them. I know when I first started that these were actually really confusing, especially the chain one. So in this video, I will go into each into detail. But first, let's start with the most simple one, which is the the impulse. That's the impulse. The impulse command block is actually really simple. It's just a one-tick command block. It does not chain or repeat them at all unless you have a redstone input constantly. But it only does the function you have within it only once. And it always needs redstone. If you set it to always active, it will literally stop working even if you put a redstone input. As you can see, it's not giving me the cooked beef. However, just because it has one input doesn't mean it's completely useless. It's actually really useful for a lot of things. It's almost the basis of command blocks. As you can see over there, I have several chains starting with an impulse. But as you can see, it needs redstone, so once I click it, I get steak. And that's the command that's within here, right here. And it's really useful for simple commands like /TP, because you don't want to constantly teleport someone. If you only want to do it once, you can just boop, ignore that blooper. Now it works. But as you can see, it only does it once and it doesn't keep me suspended into the air like these arms stand. But yeah, in the future I will probably show much more stuff that can be done with impulse and along with every other command block. But since it is the most simple command block, I'll just move on to repeating. The repeat command block is really self-explanatory. It simply just repeats a function every tick, or every other tick depending on the delay you place on it, which I'll explain later. This type of command block works with both always active and needs redstone, and both have their own very distinct uses. For example, if you want to give a certain amount of items per tick, you could just have a button that has /give. This isn't /give, but it's TP, but you'll see here that I only get suspended for a certain amount of ticks. While if you did /give, it'll give you this many amount of items. And then always active will, as it states, always be active and always be teleporting something in not teleporting, but repeating the function you give it. As you can see here, I have the function set to teleport the armor stand about 5 blocks and be facing towards me. So every tick it updates, and unless I change it back to just needs redstone, which it doesn't have a redstone function, then it just stops. However, I like to keep this type of stuff always active. Or if you want to give everyone an effect, just like forever, say you have a game mode where you need speed, you could just use a repeat to give everyone speed every second, or every other tick depending on how you put it. This one gives me speed while I'm near it, so if I actually go away, it'll go away. Just so it doesn't bother me the whole video. But yeah, that's basically repeat. It has a lot of uses, such as you could even make a timer with this using /scoreboard command too. And you could also just put a delay on there to only get seconds if you really don't want to calculate the ticks before you actually make seconds. And every second is 20 ticks, so with that information you could do a lot with timers. But now with repeat out of the way, I'm probably gonna go into chain, which chain to me was the most complicated one. Chain command blocks. Chain command blocks probably are the only command blocks that actually work with the condition function or the setting, because you can't really put conditional on an impulse because then it won't do its thing, and on a repeat, same thing, it won't do its thing. However, a chain will only do the function if it's either unconditional or the condition is met, which is really useful. It's like an if statement in coding. As you can see here, this command block is unconditional, while this command block is conditional. As you can see, the condition setting is here, and so it's here. And these two have unconditional. Unconditional simply means that no matter what the input is, as you can see here, it's testing for a player at the radius 2, but even if it can't detect me, it will still do the function. As you can see, it says failed or no match. However, on conditional, it has to find me and it has to work in order to actually continue. As you can see, it's not working, but once I'm near and it can detect me, it works. So it's basically just an if statement, and this alone opens opportunity for a lot of commands. Because if you always have something conditional, it will only happen if basically the statement is true, as you just saw here, and it's just really good. That's really all I can say. In the future, I'll show much more examples of how chain and conditional, unconditional work, including in the next video, which will be how to make a timer. But anyway, chain command blocks always have to be facing the arrows, or they have to always be matching arrows, as you can see here. So you could put them in any direction as long as arrows are pointing to each other, then it will work. And chain command blocks, as you can see here, work with both repeating and with impulse. So once I set this to always active, it's already always active. This command block, the repeating is teleporting it up, while this command block is summoning the particle around it. And you could continue this to make a bunch of effects. In my most recent map, the Volcanic Emperor, this is used a lot for the tornadoes. But anyway, that's it for chain for now. Again, this video is a very brief summary of each command block, but I hope this video helps. Anyways, now I'm gonna move on to one of the command block settings that I haven't really touched on, which is the tick delay. Tick delay is really self-explanatory. Again, none of this is really super complicated, but tick delay is one of the things that is just a little bit weird sometimes. So tick delay, what it does is basically does the function after a certain amount of ticks you set. So as you can see here, I have a message that says 5 seconds have passed, and with a tick delay of 100. 100 is 5 seconds, since 20 ticks is 1 second. So once I press it, it won't immediately do it. 5 seconds will have to pass, and as you can see here, it has whispered to me 5 seconds have passed, because 5 seconds have passed. And that's literally it. And for repeat, as you can see here, it's 1 second, but once I set it to always active, it will keep saying that every second and won't actually like stack up like I used to think it does. So, and this could be really useful. Like I said earlier, it can be really useful for a timer. You could just set it to 20 ticks and it will just add a second to the scoreboard every second, and so on. It's just really useful. And yeah, this is just a very useful tool overall. I use it a lot in a lot of maps actually. Even though I've only made like 2 command block maps, I still use it plenty amount. But anyway, that's basically it. This is just a summary of everything about command blocks. I hope this video was useful and it helped, and if I need to go into more detail on some stuff, I will do so in the future videos. Next command block tutorial will be making a timer, which is something I have talked about a lot in this video, and it's really simple and super useful. Make sure to subscribe in order to make sure you do not miss it. Anyways, thank you for watching, and again, I hope this was useful, and until then.